So pumping up some shoulders today and some chest, nothing crazy. Just did 55 minutes on the Stairmaster. But being more specific, I was in zone 2 the whole time, so 60 to 70% on my max heart rate, just so we could get some of this fat off. Spent all these months bulking, and it's time for me to lean out. Yep. So first set. So how y'all doing? I know it's been a while since I uploaded. The goal is to upload at least once a week. Not really preparing for anything specific, not competing in a show. Just want to be healthier. Focusing more so on longevity and mobility and flexibility versus just raw strength and building muscle. You know, I'm getting older. I mean, I'm still young, I'm 33 years old, but I feel my body changing and aging little by little. So I don't want to be like getting out of shape as I get older. So yeah, switching up my workout routine. Oh, let's work. Nice and controlled. I'm doing 12 reps here. Ouch. So next, going into an incline cable fly. You can do these with dumbbells too. I prefer cables because it's constant tension throughout the entire movement, which I love. Because depending on what type of movement you're doing, the muscle can relax a little bit. But here, still nice and controlled. You don't need to go heavy. Get that stretch and then push straight out. One thing about this workout is that I'm following a principle from my favorite bodybuilding coach, Hani Rambad, the FST7. So pretty much you do either a stretching movement or a movement that's gonna fill the muscle up with blood at the end of your workout for 7 sets, so 12 to 15 reps, less than 30 seconds in between. So just adding a lot more stress and more volume to the muscle at the very end. And this is my 5th set, so I'm really feeling it already. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, if you clicked on this video, this is your time to get started. God has been telling you already have all the tools that you need to get started. There's not going to be a perfect time. He didn't call you to be steady and ready. He said just to go. Of course, keep him at the forefront of all your actions, all your ideas. But just know that if you feel and know that that idea came from him, then, you know, what are you waiting for? Everything that you need is on the other side of obedience. So you need to take that first step and get started. I know for me, that was something that I personally struggled with for a while. Is like, you know what, God, what's next? When in reality, he already gave me all the answers I needed through his word to know exactly what was next for my business, for my family, for anything, for future ventures, you know? So I always used to look at where I was at currently, what my current financial status was, the people in my circle, you know, where I was at mentally. And I allowed those things in my past to hold me back, you know, from taking that first step and getting started. And now that, you know, I'm progressing in my life and the things that he called me to do, it's like I've wasted so much time worrying when worrying takes, so much time from tomorrow or where you could be. So just know that God's already given you all the tools. Like it says in Deuteronomy 8:18, he gives you the power to get wealth. And just so you know, wealth isn't just limited to money. I know money is something that makes this world go round. It could be a very important thing in your life, like it is mine, but it's not the main thing. Wealth could be anything from, your family, from having a family to having good health, to having, friends in your circle. Wealth could be, your relationship with God. So many different things can define wealth, because, it's not just money, like I said before. But just know that God has set you up for what it is that you're praying for. And especially if it's aligned with his will and you know that, you're not going to fail. So just take that first step, ask God to order your steps, and just be in prayer and, fast as well. Fasting is another secret weapon that a lot of people don't tend to utilize. Usually they utilize fasting for just, fitness goals. If you can't tell, I'm a personal trainer. So that's the topic of conversation, when it comes to fasting is, losing weight and things of that nature. But that's just a byproduct of, what us as believers could be using it for. And fasting, if you don't know, is really a way to get closer to God. It's making that sacrifice, not just with food or, social media, stuff like that, but just anything that you have a tie to, you could fast from that on top of food. Food is just a common thing, but there's been times where I just took a break from everything. And I know when I was younger, it was video games, as silly as that may sound. But that was something that I really had an attachment to that was, blocking the way, of me building a stronger relationship with God. And one thing that I personally found is that God communicates to all of us in different ways. And sometimes I know me personally is always the quietest voice, because I know that if God has to yell or give me a big sign and flashing lights to get my attention, then I'm allowing myself to be distracted from, him and his word and what he's trying to tell me. So versus, praying, God, show me a sign, I pray, God, help me block out all the distractions so I could hear you and, what it is that you have for me. So there's always the quietest voice, and the voice that I hear inside that's peace and calming, that it guides me in the right direction. And you know what? Like I said, it's not a one size fits all, just like training. God may give you those signs if that's the way he wants to communicate with you. But just be in prayer. Just know that he has your best interest at heart. And if you're not, where you envision yourself being, sometimes it's not always God, that's delaying a blessing. It could be yourself. So just be sure that you're utilizing his word, you're digging into his word daily, that you're not dreaming small, that you're dreaming big, and you're also aligning yourself, with his will and his word, because every answer that you need is in the Bible. It's not just, old stories about history and, Jesus and Peter walking on water and things like that. There's stuff about, marriage, business, family. I'm a father and a husband. There's things about that, things about, overcoming depression and anxiety and suicide, all things that I've dealt with in the past, things that I allowed, to distract myself from God. But, once I really started digging deep in the word, as much as I would, dig in these magazines to find out what workouts work and what supplements work and things of that nature, that's when I really started to move forward in life. So just be sure to take that first step, man. Don't look at where you're at. I'm a living testament. My wife is a living testament. And just know that, your current circumstances isn't your final destination, and delay doesn't always equal denial. But I hope this blesses you all. If this blessed you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with somebody that needs to hear this. And also, be sure to check out the workouts that I'm putting in here as well. These are workouts that I'm personally doing for myself. Right now, I'm in a maintenance phase when it comes to muscle, but working on my VO2 max, so the amount of oxygen my body can consume throughout the day, and just lowering my heart rate. I've already done all the bodybuilding stuff. I've won the shows. I've gotten the glitz and glamour of all that, but now I'm training for a different reason, just for longevity and to lean out a little bit. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed. And if y'all have any questions, comments, or concerns, or need somebody to talk to, my Instagram is fit_by_faith_, and just reach out if something's on your mind. But Talk to y'all next time. God bless.